Hi everyone, I'm Pastor Misty Howick and I'm back again for another chapter of Proverbs. I'm an ordained elder in the United Methodist Church and I serve a congregation in Surprise, Arizona called New Song. And today, again, we're going to be working through another chapter. We're going to be working through Proverbs chapter 29 right now. And I am going to be using the Jewish Study Bible as the place where not only I read from, but also I will get their notes from that. And it's been very interesting to read this. I have learned a lot about the culture that this was written in, and there have been times when I was surprised about what the meaning was. Today will be no different. So we're going to go ahead and read chapter 29, and then I'll just touch on a couple of the verses and things that I was surprised to learn about. So here we go. One oft reproved may become stiff-necked, but he will suddenly be broken beyond repair. When the righteous become great, the people rejoice, but when the wicked dominate, the people groan. A man who loves wisdom brings joy to his father, but he who keeps company with harlots will lose their wealth. By justice, a king sustains the land, but a fraudulent man tears it down. A man who flatters his fellow spreads a net for his feet. An evil man's offenses are a trap for himself, but the righteous sing out joyously. A righteous man is concerned with the cause of the wretched. That comes from our title today. A wicked man cannot understand such concern. Scoffers inflame a city, but the wise allay anger. When a wise man enters into litigation with a fool, there is ranting and ridicule, but no satisfaction. Bloodthirsty men detest the blameless, but the upright seek them out. A dullard vents all his rage, but a wise man calms it down. A ruler who listens to lies, all his ministers will be wicked. A poor man and a fraudulent man meet. The Lord gives luster to the eyes of both. A king who judges the wretched honestly, his throne will be established forever. Rod and reproof produce wisdom, but a lad out of control is a disgrace to his mother. When the wicked increase, offenses increase, but the righteous will see their downfall. Discipline your son, and he will give you peace, and he will gratify you with dainties. For lack of vision, a people lose restraint, but happy is he who heeds instruction. A slave cannot be disciplined by words. Though he may comprehend, he does not respond. If you see a man hasty in speech, there is more hope for a fool than for him. A slave pampered from youth will come to a bad end. An angry man provokes a quarrel. A hot-tempered man commits many offenses. A man's pride will humiliate him, but a humble man will obtain honor. He who shares with a thief is his own enemy. He hears the imprecation and does not tell. A man's fears become a trap for him, but he who trusts in the Lord shall be safeguarded. Many seek audience with a ruler, but it is from the Lord that a man gets justice. The unjust man is an abomination to the righteous, and he whose way is straight is an abomination to the wicked. So chapter 29 here is actually the last part of collection 5, and chapter 30 will begin a new collection, so its structure will be a little bit different. It's a little bit more random, kind of an assortment of wisdom texts put together. Let's go ahead and look at a couple of the passages here. And there was a couple of them that I didn't really understand. So verse 24, do you all know what an imprecation is? I don't know what an imprecation is, but this is what our Jewish Study Bible says. The verse itself reads, "He who shares with a thief is his own enemy. He hears the imprecation and does not tell." And the notes are, upon the discovery of a crime, its proclamation was issued requiring everyone who knew about it to come forward and testify. And that comes from Leviticus chapter 5. To tell means to testify. The proclamation accompanied by an imprecation, a conditional curse that would fall on whoever had information and had failed to come forward. Okay, so that kind of blew my mind. So here it's talking about, someone who knows that something wrong happened. They were instructed to come forward and testify against what had been wrong. They didn't, and then were cursed. They were given a curse. This is the first time I've seen anything like this in the Proverbs. It's possible I overlooked it before, but I did not know that the curses were given, especially because of people not telling when something was wrong happening. So in my mind, I'm thinking of like justice issues, and is like, okay, is that a natural consequence? Like, can we interpret that to be a natural consequence when we don't speak up about something wrong happening? Then, does it come back to bite us? I'm trying to think of, I think it was like Dietrich Bonhoeffer who shared something about like someone interviewed him and was like, why did you go? I could be getting this entirely wrong, and I apologize. If I am, I'll look it up after this and put it in the notes or the comments. Someone asked him, like, why did you stand up for, the people in Germany? Dietrich Bonhoeffer was a priest who escaped to the United States and then came back and was later killed during the Nazi regime. And he said basically, like, if we all stand by and let them take the mentally ill, take the Jews, then, they'll be back to get us next. So for me, like, that's the natural consequence of not speaking up when something is wrong. Because if something is wrong and it affects someone else, it won't be too long until it affects you, or until it affects us. So that's what I think. Now, verse 25 was interesting too. A man's fears become a trap for him, but he who trusts in the Lord shall be safeguarded. So this is also a common theme in our Proverbs about trusting in the Lord and not trusting in our own understandings, right? That comes up early in the Proverbs, and this is just another way of saying that. All right, I had another one. All right, verse 12 and 13. There we go. A ruler who listens to lies, all his ministers will be wicked. That kind of makes sense. If you're a ruler who's listening to your advisors and they're telling you lies, then they're probably all wicked. But number 13, a poor man and a fraudulent man meet, and the Lord gives luster to the eyes of both. And this is how this is interpreted. The meaning is uncertain about a fraudulent man, possibly a contentious man, but this is how they interpret it. God gives their eyes light, means that he gives life to all. So it doesn't matter if there is someone who's untrustworthy and someone who's poor, someone who's rich. God gives understanding and life to everybody. So I really like that. Again, that's kind of the God, it rains on both the righteous and the unrighteous. Okay, that's kind of what I'm thinking, is God gives life to everyone. All right, those were the ones that really stuck out to me as I was reading this. There is one who says, verse 5, a man who flatters his fellow spreads a net for his feet. And the notes here is that flattery or slippery speech is the device by which the strange woman too lays her trap. And that's in chapters 2 and 7. So you've got to be careful of a person who flatters other people, because they could be just setting a trap for you. And isn't that terrible? Like, it's so I don't know, kind of jaded. Like, if someone is very complimentary, you got to kind of watch out, because they might want something from you. Well, there you go. We're done with chapters 28 and chapters 29 today. Which verse stuck out to you in these two chapters today? Honestly, I like, I had one more. I'm sorry. I liked the one about, like, an evil man's offenses are a trap for themselves, but the righteous sing out joyously. I like that one. But I did want to make a note here, is that they do refer to slaves in verse 19 and 21, And this is just really unfortunate, but it reflects the society at the time. So, since a slave was deprived of material interests of their own, it was assumed they had to be treated like a child and beaten into submission. Pampering would spoil them. According to Exodus chapters 21 and 26 through 27, a male or female slave could be beaten at will, though not killed or permanently injured. And this is one of those times where I'm like, okay, so that is definitely, that was part of the context early on. We value human life. We believe that God values human life. So we've moved out of that kind of thinking and into a different thinking. So with all the beating, happening in the Proverbs, we can kind of take that and translate it into, yes, we need to instruct those who need instruction, but this idea of physical abuse, especially to people who are of equal value, that's not necessary. All people are of equal value. So that's an interesting little tidbit. Tell me what you think, and we'll be here to look at chapters 30 and 31, and the wonderful woman or something like that comes on chapter 31. It's the upstanding woman. Let me see what they say here. That's coming up. So we'll see her coming up in 31. All right, God bless. Have a wonderful day.